Today we're going to take a look at the FEMA module. To get to the FEMA module from the quickest menu, enter an F from the keyboard, highlight the FEMA module, and then press enter. Or it's also available from the drop-down on the menus as a separate menu. The FEMA module basically is sort of a subset of the whole system, but it's geared towards FEMA reporting. To create a FEMA project, you just go into your projects module and create another project, and basically whatever you want to name it, any other information, and if you click this check mark, that's what subsets it down to this menu for you. You describe it along the same lines. It collects information in the same manner, and you can do the same data analysis on it. One of the first things you probably want to do before actually getting into FEMA reporting is to set up your equipment, because your equipment may or may not have it set up at the FEMA rate. If we want to take a look here at a piece of equipment, if there's a number here, that is the FEMA number that's attached. Right now we're running this, it's a Case International skid loader, running at $22 standard rate. To attach the FEMA rate to it, we'd go to the equipment type, we'll type in loader, and it's say about up to 85 horsepower skid loader. And if we want to change the rate, you notice it's $22, and if we want to change it to the FEMA rate, we'd click this. Otherwise, we'd just click the select. It embeds a $26 an hour rate as a FEMA rate, and also want to keep your $22 an hour rate, which you can change. So when the reporting is done, if depending on which report you run, it'll either pull the standard rate or the FEMA approved rate. That's pretty much the setup on equipment. The work performed on a FEMA job basically is we'll enter FEMA to get to our FEMA projects there. It's done in the same manner that we do any other reporting. You charge it to the FEMA project, whatever that name happens to be, the date, and all. And your employees are set up in the same manner as all the other setups. They're probably already set up and ready to go. Your equipment, if you have purchases that go directly to a FEMA project, we would want to charge them to that project directly. Let's see, I think I put a charge in here. Yeah, here's a FEMA charge on the claim PO number. If it's a purchase that is directly sent to a FEMA job, you'd want to classify it by what it is, the dollar amount, vendor. We'll set it up to whatever vendor here, and then it would be some sort of a reference back to the FEMA pickup on that quarry ticket number or other type of reference, and date paid and all that. So that basically will get a direct purchase to a FEMA project. Or if it's pulled out of inventory, then it's also classified in that manner through the cost accounting system. The other area is there are several different ways you can do FEMA reporting. One is through your standard FEMA 90123, 124, and 127 reports. Or a lot of FEMA inspectors just want a spreadsheet dumped. And you can do that by going to the FEMA project number and then on out to the send button on the analysis screen. That'll dump all the records out to a spreadsheet. We'll run this, and then you run it against the project. These particular reports are over 7-day periods that they want the reports run, so you'd run it in 7-day increments. So the beginning date. The composite regular hour benefit rate is basically calculated by your city clerk or auditor or county clerk auditor, and that's the percentage over the regular hours that the Social Security, vacation, other type of comp time is rolled into the figure. And also there's a different composite on the overtime hours worked. Normally it's around half of whatever the other hour rate is. It depends upon your, say, your county parish location. This was an audit report, so we're going to audit it. Anybody who has more than 60 work hours will show up on this report with a red X. And basically what that's saying is if you want to kind of scope in on anyone who's got more than 60 work hours in any given week. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it gives you a kind of a zeroing in on anyone who might have gotten posted incorrectly. Notice on this record, Frank Watson worked 15 regular hours and 4 overtime hours on November the 1st. So that would be a suspect record that you might want to go back and check and verify. The standard report is basically, it doesn't have this due on submit or the red X's on it, and it looks exactly like this. It's just the audit report, and it totals up your regular hours and overtime worked, and the totals are for each page, so that is a little different than most reporting. If we go back to the FEMA reporting again and run the material report, now the material report is on the project, but it is over any given date range. And basically what we have here is your report. It shows, let me move some stuff on my screen around here. Basically it will show this is inventory out of your stock. In other words, it was purchased, put into inventory, and you pull it back out and then apply it to this FEMA job. This particular one was a direct purchase, and it was entered by the reference to the asphalt services, the vendor, the type of material, cost, and everything. And the X gets in here under the invoice purchase if it is purchased that had some sort of a reference to a rock ticket shipment or pickup at a vendor site. And so that pretty much covers this report. It'll give you the total on all multiple pages. And we'll go back to FEMA reporting one more time and run an equipment report here. Now the equipment reports, you can run them at the equipment at standard rate or at the FEMA rate, depending on which way you want to run it. This is an audit, this is a FEMA rate, and this standard rate. Normally you'll run the audit first, but we'll just go ahead and run the FEMA rate, the audit on the FEMA rate. Run it over a beginning date. It runs in 7-day increments also. Basically it'll list the equipment that was run and who was the operator on it, the number of hours they worked in each day, and let's see, looks like that is a major blowout here on this one. This is all test data, but it looks like he worked something like 800 hours there on that particular day. Anyway, that is a problem, so you'd want to go back and correct it. In fact, I'll show you how to find that. This particular was on 11/3/10, and Frank Watson, who we'll be looking for. So basically this report also prints out in the same manner. On the help button on the FEMA reporting module explains how to set up your project so that they print correctly as per the FEMA directions. So now let's go back and we'll find Frank Watson, and it was a FEMA reporting, and it was on 11/1. And just enter the date there and then tab, and that'll subset all the records. And then we'll put it in project order. So we have these FEMA project costs that we can look at here. And it was Frank Watson. We might put it in employee order so we can look at the employees here. And so you pull up any of the records that were charged to Frank Watson on that particular day. And FEMA work performed purchase. That pretty much covers a FEMA module operating. It operates about 99% similar to all of the other operations. The only differential is marking it as a FEMA project and then carrying it over into the FEMA reports. Oh, let's take a quick look at the FEMA project, and then we'll double click on it. Now, if they want a spreadsheet dump of this, you just pull over here to the detailed cost analysis and then hit your send button and send it out to File, Excel, Preview After Save. If you did want to direct the save somewhere, you can set it up here. And this will just generate and automatically start your Excel spreadsheet, because you probably, but basically, like I said earlier, a lot of FEMA inspectors, they prefer a spreadsheet over the actual reports. I think they take the spreadsheets back to their office and generate the actual reports. And so that pretty much covers the FEMA module. If you have any questions, give us a call or email. Next week, we'll be covering the fund accounting module and its integration into the other modules.